before Halloween, you might be feeling a little spooky. Maybe you and your little boys and ghouls are planning to start the celebrations early, get dressed up, eat some candy, visit the local haunts. Already, many homes across the city are decorated, welcoming visitors, if they dare. Tomorrow, my next guest is hosting a haunt with a unique twist. It is fully accessible. Robin Frolic is the self-proclaimed haunt overlord. Frolic's Haunt is joining us in studio now. Good morning.
Morning.
Tell us a bit about your haunt and how it's different from others in the city.
There's a lot of community center events and that sort of thing that are accessible, but they are meant for all ages. They aren't scary at all. Same thing with Camp Spooky at Wonderland. It's meant for very small children. So up until now, there hasn't really been an option in Toronto for older kids who want a bit of a scare. So we have created a fully accessible haunt, not just wheelchair accessible, but accessible in many other ways.
I was going to say, what does that mean, fully accessible?
So not only is it wheelchair accessible, but we have ASL interpreters for deaf attendees. We have touchable props for blind attendees. We don't have any sirens or fog or strobes that would make it difficult for people with migraines or epilepsy conditions. So we've made a lot of different features that make it accessible to a wide range of disabilities. And this both makes it accessible to children who have up until now been excluded from haunts, and also makes it accessible for disabled parents who haven't been able to bring their children to haunts. And I just want to address a note real quick, because I understand that saying people with disabilities is the more commonly accepted way of doing it. As a disabled person myself, I choose to use identity first language, which means disabled person as versus people with disabilities.
If you think of the barriers that exist right now that would make it tricky for some kids to visit other haunted houses across the city, what would those be?
Huge things like just elevation changes can be a major issue. Tiny winding pathways where you have to squeeze in between them. Even places that have bigger pathways often have corners that are too tight for a turning radius for a wheelchair. Some use air pillows that will compress you, which is fun for able-bodied people, pushing through it. It gets that claustrophobia going, but makes it impossible for people with limited mobility or weakness conditions. So there's a lot of different features that are commonly used in haunted houses that make them inaccessible.
You've been planning this for 3 years?
Yes. Well, really a lot longer than that. I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, but yes, seriously in the planning stages for the last 3 years. And
why is it such a big deal for you? Why is it so important for you personally?
As an invisibly disabled person myself, and with other disabled people in our family, this matters a lot to me, because disabled kids in particular are so often excluded from things. And I love Halloween. I'm super passionate about Halloween, and we believe in Halloween for all. That's really... I have an amazing team of volunteers this year. It's taking about 35 to 40 volunteers to put this on.
Wow.
And
how do you pull this together?
Very carefully.
Yeah.
With a lot of help. So yeah, it's been literally thousands of hours by this point of us making props and setting up sets and training actors.
I was going to say, there's actors as well.
Yes.
Tell me about the actors.
So let's see, we have 18 actors, I believe. We have 3 different themed rooms this year, so each room has its own sort of actors, as well as actors that are outside the haunt. And of course, you can't expect them to go in and do a 4-hour shift, so you need enough that you can change out and accommodate for loss on the day of, because,
This is a huge production.
Way more than I expected.
Is there a point at which you think, this is a really good idea, but somebody else should do it? I've bitten off more than I can chew.
This is my desperate hope, is that our presence in the haunting scene will start getting other haunters thinking about accessibility. Because nobody's deliberately excluding anybody. It's just a matter that they don't think about it.
But that's what accessibility often is a matter of, is people not thinking about the barriers that are there in front of them.
Exactly. So it's not that they're like, oh, I don't care about those kids in wheelchairs. It's just that it isn't even a thought to begin with.
How difficult is it to make something that's scary?
We actually have a scare system set up.
Sorry?
We have a scare system set up.
What is that?
So kids that want low scare, they can choose this, and they go through with a camping lantern, and it cuts a lot of our mood lighting, and the actors know to stay back and not engage. And on medium scare, they get a flashlight, and then the actors know they can come forward, but no jump scares are allowed. And on our high scare system, they go through without anything, and then they get jump scares.
It's like choose your own
exactly.
level
So
of terror.
this way, each group can choose what level they're comfortable with, and we're not traumatizing children who are, this is too intense for me, but we are giving some thrills to those who want them.
Not all the people who have booked up to come through this have disabilities.
No. And we are perfectly welcoming of non-disabled people too. We are more than happy to have everybody attend. I would expect that as time grows, we have reached out to more than 40 different disability organizations to let them know that this is a thing. But if we relied entirely on the disabled population, I think we'd have quite a bit of capacity left. So yeah, we're more than happy to have non-disabled people attend. Please don't feel like, well, I don't want to go because I might take a spot away from a disabled person. I am holding some spots back.
And there are some spaces available.
There are still some spaces available in some of our time slots. Most of them are booked at this point, but there are still some left.
If I choose the high, scary thing,
it'll be awesome.
Is it really scary?
It'll be good times. Well, keep in mind that we are a haunt aimed at the ages 6 to 13.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Wonderland is accessible, so older teens can go to Halloween Haunt at Wonderland if they want. So we're really there for that niche between Camp Spooky and Haunt, like full-on Halloween Haunt.
Have fun.
But yeah,
how could you not
be
have
good
fun?
times.
This is going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's Robin Frolic, the host and organizer, Haunt Overload of Frolic's Haunt. It is a fully accessible home haunt. It's in the north end of the city. It takes place tomorrow. You want more information, we'll put the link up in just a moment. Yes, the website, we'll put the link on Twitter in just a moment, at Metro Morning. It is the weekend